My entire world was dismantled by a single, meticulously crafted lie. It's a strange feeling to have your reality fracture. One moment, you're living your life, trusting the people in it, and the next, you discover that the foundation upon which you built your happiness is nothing more than rotten wood, painted to look sturdy. It all started with my boyfriend, Nathan. Nathan wasn't just my boyfriend. He was a permanent fixture in the landscape of my life. He was my older brother, Liam's best friend. We all grew up together in a quiet, leafy suburb of Boston, where everyone knew everyone, and secrets were a rare commodity. I'd harbored a crush on Nathan since I was about 14, watching him and Liam play basketball in our driveway, my stomach doing flips whenever he'd smile at me. He was a golden boy, with an easy charm and a kindness that felt genuine. I never acted on it, of course. He was Liam's friend, and I was just the annoying little sister. It wasn't until after I graduated high school and he was in his second year of college that something shifted. We ran into each other at a local coffee shop, and for the first time, he didn't treat me like a kid. We talked for an hour. That conversation sparked a 2-year relationship that felt like something out of a dream. He was my first real love, my best friend, my everything. We were perfect, or so I had believed. The illusion shattered on a perfectly ordinary Tuesday evening. Nathan had come over to my apartment, his eyes red-rimmed and his hands shaking. He looked utterly broken. He told me he'd been at a party over the weekend, a gathering of some old college friends I hadn't been able to attend. He said he'd had too much to drink, and a girl named Isabel had been there. One thing led to another. He sobbed as he told me, clutching my hands, begging for my forgiveness. He said it meant nothing, that it was a catastrophic mistake, that he loved only me. The words hit me with the force of a physical blow. I felt the air leave my lungs. The room seemed to tilt on its axis. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just went numb. It was as if a pane of glass inside me had been struck, and a million hairline fractures spread out from the point of impact, holding together for just a second before disintegrating. I gently pulled my hands from his, stood up, grabbed my car keys from the bowl on the counter, and walked out of my own home, leaving him there, weeping on my sofa. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I had to get out. I drove for an hour, my vision blurry, before pulling into a deserted parking lot and finally letting the tears come. They were silent, heaving sobs that felt like they were tearing me apart from the inside. My phone rang. It was Liam. He'd already heard. "Hey, kiddo," he said, his voice soft with what sounded like genuine sympathy. "Nathan called me. He's a mess. Are you okay?" We talked for a long time. I poured my heart out, telling him how devastated I was, how the image of Nathan with someone else was burned into my mind. I told him, my voice trembling but firm, that it was over. I was breaking up with him. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. "I don't think that's a good idea, Maya," Liam finally said. I was so stunned I actually pulled the phone away from my ear to stare at it. "What did you just say?" I asked, my voice dangerously low. "He's my best friend," Liam said, a whining, pleading tone entering his voice. "He's really torn up about this. If you break up with him, he's going to be a complete wreck. I'll have to deal with a miserable, bummed-out friend for months. Can't you just work through it?" I saw red. "Work through it?" I hissed. "He cheated on me, Liam. Your sister. And you're worried about having to deal with a sad friend? What is wrong with you? I thought you'd be the first person ready to defend my honor, to go punch his lights out." This was the same brother who, throughout high school, had given stern, intimidating lectures to any boy who so much as looked at me twice. He'd been my protector. Now, he was acting as a lobbyist for my betrayer. "It's just complicated, Maya," he hedged. "People make mistakes. And he's really sorry. Don't throw away 2 years over one stupid night. I told him, in no uncertain terms, that I didn't care about his friend's feelings, that my self-respect was not negotiable, and that I was profoundly disappointed in him. The conversation ended with both of us hanging up in anger. We hadn't spoken since. The fallout was immediate and isolating. My mother called me the next day, her voice tight with annoyance. "Maya, why are you working your brother's nerves? He's very upset." I was flabbergasted. "Mom, Nathan cheated on me. I'm breaking up with him. Liam is upset because he doesn't want his best friend to be sad. Do you not see how insane that is?" There was a brief silence on the other end. "Oh," she said, the sound small and dismissive. "Well, I'm sure it's a misunderstanding. You shouldn't be so dramatic." Then she hung up. That was it. No comfort, no maternal fury on my behalf. Just a curt dismissal. It confirmed what I had always known but tried to ignore. Liam was the sun around which our family orbited. My father had passed away from a heart attack when I was 10, and since then, my mother had poured all her energy and devotion into her son. I was an afterthought, the dependable, low-maintenance daughter who never caused trouble. My compliance had always been assumed. My heartbreak was an inconvenience. In the days that followed, Nathan tried to contact me relentlessly. He called, texted, emailed. He showed up at my workplace, and I had to have a security guard escort him out. My friends, my true family, circled the wagons. They blocked him on everything and made it clear I was not to be disturbed. I was grieving, not just for the relationship, but for the brother I thought I had, and for the mother who clearly didn't have my back. I felt anchorless, adrift in a sea of betrayal. The pain was a constant, physical ache in my chest. I kept asking myself the same questions. Why wasn't I enough? What did I do wrong? The logical part of my brain knew his cheating was a reflection of his character, not my worth. But the heartbroken part wasn't listening. Then, about a week after the initial bomb dropped, I received a string of texts from Nathan. I had finally texted him, telling him to come get the boxes things I had packed and to never contact me again. His response was not what I expected. "Maya, please, before you do this, you need to know the truth. I lied. I made it all up." I stared at the screen, my heart hammering against my ribs. A tiny, treacherous flame of hope flickered to life inside me. I didn't respond, but the messages kept coming. There was no party. There was no Isabel. I never cheated on you. It was a test. Liam and I, we thought it would be a good way to test your loyalty. The word test seemed to pulse on the screen, ugly and foreign. It was stupid, so stupid. I regret it every second. I love you so much. Please call Liam. He'll tell you the truth. He made me do it. The whiplash was nauseating. My mind raced, trying to process this new, even more horrifying reality. A test? They staged an elaborate scenario, complete with fake tears and a fake confession, to test me? To see what I would do? The betrayal I felt before was a single, clean cut. This was 1,000 tiny, serrated wounds. I felt physically ill. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. That flicker of hope was instantly snuffed out by a cold, consuming rage. After taking an hour to steady my nerves, I called Liam. I decided to play along, to see if the stories matched. Nathan told me everything. I said, my voice eerily calm. About the test. There was a long, heavy silence. I could almost hear him scrambling for a response. "Oh, man, Maya. Look, I'm so sorry. It got out of hand. Nathan came to me with this dumb idea, and I went along with it. I knew you'd break up with him if you thought he cheated, and I didn't want you guys to split up over nothing. I was trying to help." His version was slightly different. painting himself as a reluctant accomplice rather than a mastermind, but the core of the story was the same. This was a fabricated drama, and I had been the unwilling star. "Help!" I whispered, the calm finally breaking. "You thought psychologically torturing me, breaking my heart, and making me believe the man I loved betrayed me was helpful? What is wrong with you both? Why did I need testing? What possible reason could you have?" Liam stammered. "I don't know. We want to be sure you were really committed, that you wouldn't just bail at the first sign of trouble." The irony was so thick it was suffocating. They had created the trouble. They had manufactured the very scenario they claimed to be testing my response to. It was the most convoluted, idiotic, and cruel thing I had ever heard. I hung up on him. I had my answers, and they were worse than I could have ever imagined. The man I loved and the brother I trusted had conspired to break my heart for sport. It was a game to them. My mother, when I confronted her with this new information, offered a lukewarm. Well, that was a foolish thing for them to do, as if they had merely pranked me with a whoopee cushion. She was more concerned about the friction between me and Liam than the profound violation I had experienced. It was then that I truly understood I was on my own. The grief began to harden into a steely resolve. I would not be a victim in this story they had written for me. The following weeks were a blur of intense emotion. I cycled through rage, deep sadness, and a strange, hollow emptiness. I missed Nathan with a fierceness that shamed me. I missed his laugh, the way he held my hand, the easy comfort of his presence. But every time that longing surfaced, I would remember the look on his face as he fake cried, the sound of Liam's voice dismissing my pain, and the feeling would curdle into disgust. I started therapy, realizing that this was not something I could just get over. The betrayal was too deep, the layers of deception too complex. My therapist helped me see that this wasn't about my worth. It was about their profound immaturity and deep-seated insecurity. Nathan needed the ego boost to see me fight for him, and Liam enjoyed the puppet master control. It was sick. I threw myself into my work and spent more time with my friends. I started running, pounding the pavement until my lungs burned and my legs ached, try to physically exhaust the anger out of my body. I began to rebuild my sense of self, piece by piece. I was no longer Nathan's girlfriend or Liam's little sister. I was just Maya, and Maya was stronger than they had ever given her credit for. Nathan continued to try and reach out, his messages shifting from pleas to accusations. "You're throwing away something real because of one mistake," he texted once. I finally broke my silence and replied, "The mistake was trusting you. The breakup is a consequence. Do not contact me again." After that, I changed my number. The final, grim confirmation of their true characters came about a month later. A friend of mine, who knew a friend of one of Nathan's actual college buddies, sent me a screenshot from a private social media group. It was Nathan venting. He was complaining about me, calling me a heartless ice queen for not forgiving him. And then in the comments, he admitted the truth to his friend, a truth that was even darker than the test story. He wrote, "Fine, you got me. There was a girl at a party. Her name was Rebecca. We hooked up. I felt guilty and told Liam, and he said the best way to get out of it was to say it was a test, that Maya would be so relieved she'd take me back in a second. It was a Hail Mary. It backfired. Badly. So the test was itself a lie. A second layer of deception, designed to cover up the original betrayal. He had cheated. Liam had known he cheated. And their brilliant plan was to gaslight me into believing it was all a fictional scenario, making me the unreasonable one for not playing along. I felt a perverse sense of relief seeing that screenshot. It was the closure I needed. There were no more questions, no more doubts. They were both liars and cowards. I sent the screenshot to Liam with a single message. "I know everything. Do not ever speak to me again." He didn't respond. My mother, when I showed her, finally seemed to grasp the severity of the situation. Her face paled. "Oh, Maya," she whispered. I had no idea. But her apology felt too little, too late. The damage was done. The family structure, already fragile, had collapsed. I had spent my life trying to earn a love and loyalty that was given freely to my brother, and I was done trying. It's been 6 months now. The sharp, gut-wrenching pain has faded into a dull, manageable ache. I think about my dad sometimes and how he would have handled this. He was a man of quiet integrity, who valued honesty above all else. I know, with every fiber of my being, that he would have been on my side. He would have been ashamed of Liam and would have had no patience for Nathan's weaselly excuses. Carrying that certainty with me is a comfort. I've been dating a little cautiously. I met a nice guy named Ben in a book club. He's kind, straightforward, and has a calm, stable energy that I find healing. He knows a little of what happened, and he's patient with my occasional trust issues. I'm learning to be open again on my own terms. As for Liam and my mother, our relationship is cordial but distant. We exchange texts on birthdays and major holidays. That's it. I've accepted that they will never be the family I needed them to be. And in that acceptance, I've found a certain peace. The movie of my life hit a horrific plot twist, but I've taken over the director's chair. The next act is mine to write, and I'm finally choosing a story of respect, honesty, and self-love. The credits have rolled on that old drama, and I'm ready for whatever comes next.